Yo, and welcome to the Doing Business While Homeless live stream. You can ask some questions and get some answers. And we'll talk about like who might buy this, for what reason, and that'll help shape the content of the work. Survival Guide 2 of 4. Going up Maslow's hierarchy of needs from layer 1, biological needs. That's basically the actions that one can do. Urban Camping Pro. Without a lot of the strategy, just a breakdown of what there is to do, and then Doing Business While Homeless composes those into business functions like scheduling, etc., because a homeless person must operate themselves as a startup business getting off the ground. So these concepts of runway, burn rate, blah, 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 first principles will matter. And then business is relationships as well. So what channels are there to find customers, connect with customers? What obstacles are there? Everything is commerce, and so it's hard to be 100% general, but there might be certain domains, certain approaches that work best for homeless people. In my case, I've got my life's work, but it's not paying money yet, and so I support myself by doing a job, JOB, just over broke, to pay my expenses and pay the startup costs until it pays for itself. So the difference between a gamble and an investment is a investment has a positive return. So people talk about investing in Bitcoin and this and that. Okay, if Bitcoin is an investment, so is running your own business. Even though they say 90% of businesses fail, I think it's generally still called an investment by people more than a gamble. I don't think too many people would call starting a business a gamble, well, except for critics who don't want you to succeed. So why is there an expected outcome in starting a business? Well, there's probably something to do with 90% of people versus, just their aptitude, their situation, their perseverance, their faith, their risk tolerance. And then there's serial entrepreneurs who start business after business and succeed, So I bet that it's probably something to do with 90% of people. And not to say they can't build themselves up and go on self-improvement journeys and get to the point where they can reliably start businesses that are sure to succeed. I couldn't tell you. And it takes something like 6 years or something for a business to pay off on average. And it's probably better to go 2 years, figure out it's not working, and keep going from year into years 3 and 4 than to start something new and go 1 to 2 more years with that. It may make sense to do proof of concepts, like launch placeholder products into different marketplaces that you might utilize, not necessarily the real product. It might be to put out feelers. It might be to get to know the platforms and what kinds of offers can be put together. Gumroad, Shopify, Wix, Fiverr, all these different services, platforms where you can sell services and products. Personally, I found Gumroad to be a good one because of the diverse kinds of offers you can do, expanded between the time I got there and continues to. There are some things around its own branding being kind of corny, unfortunately, but that is what it is. So, nobody's saying anything in chat yet. Looks like we have 2 people here, though. What's going on? Do you have any questions about doing business while homeless? We look at how to do it, like habits and doing things in repeatable, reliable ways, like how much of a risk do we take? Ideally minimal, but some risk has to be taken to start a new endeavor. There might be reasons why one might start a business rather than go to work for somebody else any longer than they need to. Any of this could be content for the work. It is focused largely, well, it's in general Maslow's hierarchy top to bottom, but specifically layer 2. So if we're talking about adjacent layers, there's a lot of space to do that. The focus of layer 1's work and layer 3's work might not quite be doing business. So it might make sense to take some layer 1 and 3 content into it. Okay. Do you have any questions about doing business while homeless? I've had chat enabled on my live streams for at least a couple years, so long-time viewer, non-relevant question. I'll wait until someone has a question. All right, we'll go to the 10-minute mark. If nobody has any questions, we'll call it a wrap. All right, looks like nobody has any questions. Have